Howdy and welcome to the Mighty Muddy Chuck channel. I'm Chuck. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's free and it would benefit me just by you subscribing. It's free. So I've done videos in the past and I've suggested that we live in a computer-like digital world. Now, while some people say that means a virtual world, a simulation or such, because like in the movie The Matrix, you had the simulation and then you still had the clay-based, the real world. And people like Elon Musk suggest that perhaps long ago there was a clay-based world, but it got replaced by a digital virtual world. I think the world's always been digital or computer-like. I don't like the word simulation. I don't like the word virtual. It implies, A, that there ever was a clay-based world, and also it implies that perhaps maybe what we do doesn't have consequences. Just because this is a digital computer-like world, that doesn't mean that what we do doesn't have consequences. There are consequences to everything that we do. Okay, usually when I'm talking about the world being digital or computer-like, I bring up synchronicity and serendipity, but this time I'm going to go straight to the science, the science, the science. In physics, there's a famous double-slit experiment. Electrons are fired at a photosensitive screen through slits in a copper plate, usually producing an interference pattern that indicates wave-like behavior. But when the same experiment is conducted under observation, electrons behave like particles, not waves, and there's no interference pattern. This points to a digital world. Perhaps the world is conserving its resources and rendering certain things only when it knows we're looking at them. That's one explanation. But another explanation is that for that event to happen, there needs to be souls present. There needs to be people present, because this computer-like digital world is dependent on us. It's not self-sustaining. To some degree, we are the glue that helps hold it together. It needs us. In 2017, a multidisciplinary group of researchers at the University of Washington proved that they could embed malicious computer code into physical strands of DNA. Their aim was to show that computers working in gene sequencing were vulnerable to attack, but they may also have inadvertently revealed that what we perceive to be a biological reality was in fact computer code all along. But if you look at the human genome, don't you kind of think that even without this experiment? The human genome contains billions of pieces of information and around 22,000 genes, but not all of it is strictly speaking human. 8% of our DNA consists of remnants of ancient viruses, and another 40% is made up of repetitive strings of genetic letters that is also thought to have a viral origin. If there's some being that wants to change the computer code, viruses is a way to do it. And viruses will not only perhaps change the human genome, but may also change what was a previous version of history, the computer code for the previous version of history for time. Injecting a virus into that part of the computer code, into that timeline, that part of time, that timeline, that time, that history may be changed because of the toll that virus takes on humanity. So it may not only change the human body, it may change human lives. And it's a way to change the computer code in a major way. More evidence is there's quirks with computer code. James Gates claims he has identified what appears to be actual computer code embedded in the equations of string theory that describe the fundamental particles of our universe. He says he found error-correcting codes in the equation he was studying about quarks and electrons and supersymmetry. He found computer code. So, I mean, there's growing evidence that we live in a digital computer-like world. That doesn't mean the world isn't real. It just means this is the way the world was created. It was created digitally. It's created computer-like. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the world isn't complicated. In other words, it may be a lot more complicated than even a quantum computer. Certainly more complicated than the computer that you're probably using now. But that is, if you're using a computer, you may be using your phone. So anyway, I tend to think the world is computer-like and digital. That doesn't mean that that what we do in this world doesn't have consequences. There are consequences. This world is real. It's not a simulation. It's not virtual. What happens to our souls in this world is real. Much thanks for watching and listening. I do appreciate it. Thank you.